नंदन ब्रज जन रंजना यमुना तीरा बनचारी यमुना तीरा बनचारी बनचारी जयो राधा माधव कुंज विहारी जयो राधा माधव कुंज विहारी रवा कुंज विहार हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्णा राम राम हरे 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 कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्णा हरे राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्णा हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्णा हरे 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 कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्णा हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्णा राम राम हरे 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 कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम राम हरे हरे जयो राधा वल्लभ श्री राधे Jayo Jagannatha Jagannatha Baladeva Jayo Subhadra Jayo Gauranitai 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 Jayo Gauranitai Gauranitai Jayo Gaurani Prabhupada 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 Jayo Jayo Prabhupada Vishnupad Paramahamsa Parivrajacharya Ashtottara Shata Shri Śrīmad His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai Ananta Koti Vaishnava Vrind Ki Jai Grantaraj Śrīmad Bhāgavatam Ki Jai Nitai Gaur Premanande All glories to the assembled devotees, all glories to the assembled devotees, all glories to Shri Shri Guru and Gauranga, all glories to His Divine Grace, Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Nama Om Vishnupadaya Krishna Presthaya Bhutale Śrīmate Bhaktivedanta Swaminiti Namine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayamudhiraye Nashtaprayeshu Abhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavatiruttama Shloke Bhaktir Bhavati Naishtaki Krishnaya Vasudevaya Devaki Nandanaya Cha Nanda Gopakumaraya Govindaya Namo Namaha. Hare Krishna. Welcome all of you for today's discussion of Śrīmad Bhāgavatam. We are reading from Canto 9, Chapter 24, titled as Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And we are reading from verse number 66. Jato gatah pitragrihad vrajamedhitartho Hatva ripun sutashatani krutorudaraha Utpadyateshu purushah krutubhi samije Atmanamatmanigamam prathayan janeshu Jato gatah pritigrihad vrajamedhitartho Hatva ripun sutashatani krutorudaraha Utpadyateshu purushah kratubhis samije Atmanamatmanigamam prathayanjaneshu Jato gatah pitragrihad vrajamedhitartho Hatva ripun sutashatani krutorurudaha Hatva ripun sutashatani krutorudaraha Utpadyateshu purushah kratubhih samije Atmanamatmanigamam prathayanjaneshu Jato gatah pitragrihad vrajamedhitartho Jato gatah pitragrihad vrajamedhitartho Hatva shatani krutorudaraha Utpadyateshu purushah kratubhis samije Atmanamatmanigamam prathayanjaneshu Hatva ripun sutashatani krutorudaraha Utpadyateshu purushah kratubhi samije Atmanamatmanigamam prathayanjaneshu. Word-to-word translation. Jataha, after taking birth as the son of Vasudeva, Gataha, went away, Pitragrihat, from the houses of his father, Vrajam, to Vrindavana, Edhita Artaha, to exalt the position of Vrindavana, Hatva, killing there, Ripun, many demons, Sutashatani, hundreds of sons, Krita Urudaraha, accepting many thousands of wives, the best of women, Utpadya, begot, Teshu, in them, Purushaha, the Supreme Person who exactly resembles a human being, Kratubihi, by many sacrifices, Samije, worshipped, Atmanam, himself, because he is the person worshipped by all sacrifices. Atmanigamam, exactly according to the ritualistic ceremonies of the Vedas. Prathayan, expanding the Vedic principles, Janeshu, among the people in general. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Śrīla Prabhupada Ki Jai. Translation. The Supreme Personality of Godhead Sri Krishna, known as Leela Purushottama, appeared as the son of Vasudeva, but immediately left his father's home and went to Vrindavana to expand his loving relationship with his confidential devotees. In Vrindavana, the Lord killed many demons and afterwards he returned to Dwarka, where according to Vedic principles he married many wives who were the best of women, begot through them hundreds of sons and performed sacrifices for his own worship to establish the principles of householder life. Purport. As stated in the Bhagavad Gita 15.15, Vedaischa sarvair ahameva vedyah. By all the Vedas, it is Krishna who is to be known. Lord Sri Krishna, setting an example by his own behavior, performed many ritualistic ceremonies described in the Vedas and established the principles of Grihastha life by marrying many wives and begetting many children, just to show people in general how to be happy by living according to the Vedic principles. The center of Vedic sacrifice is Krishna. Vedaischa sarvar ahameva vedyah. To advance in human life, human society must follow the Vedic principles personally demonstrated by Lord Krishna in his householder life. The real purpose of Krishna's appearance, however, was to manifest how one can take part in the loving affairs with the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Reciprocations of loving affairs in ecstasy are possible only in Vrindavana. Therefore, just after his appearance as the son of Vasudeva, the Lord immediately left for Vrindavana. In Vrindavana, the Lord not only took part in loving affairs with his father and mother, the gopis and the cowherd boys, but also gave liberation to many demons by killing them. As stated in the Bhagavad Gita 4.8, Paritranaya sadhunam vinashaya cha dushkritam. The Lord appears in order to protect the devotees and kill the demons. This was fully exhibited by his personal behavior. In the Bhagavad Gita, the Lord is understood by Arjuna to be Purusham Shashvatam Divyam, the eternal transcendental Supreme Person. Here also we find the words Utpadyateshu Purushaha. Therefore, it is to be concluded that the absolute truth is Purusha, a person. The impersonal feature is but one of the features of his personality. Ultimately, he is a person. He is not impersonal. And not only is he a Purusha, a person, but he is the Leela Purushottama, the best of all persons. Om Ajnana-timirandhasya Jnananjana-shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamahyam Dadati Sva Padantikam. Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Padakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishna Vamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunathanvitam Tam Sajeevam Sadvaitam Savadhutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakham Vitamscha He Krishna Karuna Sindho Dinabandho Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Rishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vancha Kalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya Evacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shri Vasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Yam pravrajantam anupetam apeta krityam dvaipayana viraha katara ajuhava putreti tanmayataya taravobhinedu stham sarva bhuta hridayam munimanatosmi. So Hare Krishna. So we are actually tiptoeing into the 10th canto now. We are in the 9th canto. Just before we go into the context of this verse, I wanted to discuss, let us meditate a few minutes on this beautiful, wonderful composition by Vyasadeva called Śrīmad Bhāgavatam. Bhāgavatam, from the very beginning, actually tried to establish one truth. And that one truth is that Krishna is the ultimate Purusha. He is Swayam Bhagavan. Actually, in the expansions, the first Purusha is called Karanodakshaya Vishnu. From him emanates Garbhodakshaya Vishnu, who resides in the universe and lies in the causal ocean. Not the causal ocean, the Garbhodaka ocean. And from the Garbhodakshaya Vishnu, all the avatars emanate. Because he is in the universe, and all the avatars or the incarnations in that particular universe actually appear as though from the second Purusha, which is Garbhodakshaya Vishnu. In the 3rd chapter of the 1st canto, Vyasadeva writes like this: Avatarahi asankheya hare sattvar nidher dvijah yatha vidasinah kulya sarasasyu sahasrashah. So this is a very important verse because Jiva Goswami actually points to this verse, because many sampradayas, even before we come to ISKCON, we always hear Krishna is an avatara and Narayana and Vishnu is the ultimate supreme Lord, and from everything, from him comes all the avatars. Now let us meditate a few minutes on this verse. Avatara hi asankheya means there are innumerable avatars. Harehe sattva nidher dvijaha. He is an ocean of goodness. So there is a sattva nidher, means there is an ocean of goodness. And from this ocean of goodness, avatara hi asankheya, lot of avatars emanate. How? Yatha vidasinah kulyaha, means inexhaustible rivulets. So imagine there is an ocean of goodness, mode of goodness, just mode of goodness, not the material mode of goodness, but completely pure, unalloyed goodness. There is an ocean, and from this ocean, inexhaustible rivulets, rivers are coming out. Yeah? Yatha vidasinah kulyaha. Kulyaha means rivulets. Avidasinah means inexhaustible. Sarasaha syuhu sahasrashah. Sarasah means vast lakes. Sarasi, the Lord is also called Sarasi Jaksha. In Kannada there is a beautiful song. Sakala graha balanine Sarasi Jaksha. Sarasa means lake. Okay, so like that, out of these oceans, rivulets of lakes which is inexhaustible, Sahasrasha means thousands of lakes are emanating. So Jiva Goswami says, if there are thousands of rivulets that is emanating from this ocean of goodness, who is that ocean of goodness? Who is the ultimate source from where all these avatars emanating? That is one point. Then he goes ahead. In the same canto, in the same chapter, 27th verse, he says, Rishayo manavo deva manu putra mahaujasah kala sarve harereva saprajapataya smritaha. So he then says, somehow in this verse he says there are lesser known Vibhuti incarnations like Rishis, Manus, Devatas, descendants of Manu and Prajapatis. After talking about this verse in the 27th, in the same chapter 1.3.28, Vyasadeva writes this verse which is called as the Paribhasha Sutra of Bhagavatam, which is what our Parampara, Gaudiya Parampara actually elucidates. Many people do not agree with it, but this is what Jiva Goswami elucidates. Ete chamsha kalah pumsaha krishnastu bhagavan swayam indrari vyakulam lokam mridayanti yuge yuge. Jiva Goswami says, Ete, so 22 incarnations are listed in Śrīmad Bhāgavatam, because in the 3rd chapter, among the questions, there was a question about the incarnations of the Lord. How does the Lord come out and do leelas? So Vyasadeva lists 22 incarnations, and Krishna appears as the 20th incarnation in the list. Okay? Krishna, Balarama, and then he talks about Buddha also. Buddha also is listed as one of the incarnations. So 22 incarnations are listed. Krishna is mentioned as the 20th incarnation. After all of this, Vyasadeva writes this verse, Ete, so far I have told you all these incarnations, Ete cha amsha kalaha pumsaha, means the amshaha, the kalaha, amsha means plenary portions, kalaha means portions, pumsaha means of the supreme, Krishna, but to Bhagavan Swayam, out of all of these incarnations, Krishna, but Krishna is the only Swayam Bhagavan, rest are all emanating from him. And what is the duty he does? Indrari vyakulam lokam ridayanti yuge yuge. In fact, Madhvacharya does not say this when he writes his Bhagavata Tatparya. Acharya Madhva says, Ete cha amsha. Madhvacharya writes, Ete swamsha, not cha. So therefore, Jiva Goswami kind of disagrees with Acharya Madhva to say, if it was so, why would there be Krishna's two? Tu means but. If there is a but, that means it indicates that Krishna among all of these incarnations is Swayam Bhagavan. And Jiva Goswami goes back to this 26th verse, Avatara hi asankhyaha hare sattva nidher dvijaha yatha avidasinaha. This ocean of goodness is none other than Krishna himself. This is the only purpose of Śrīmad Bhāgavatam, Jiva Goswami says. Because it actually makes sense. And Jiva Goswami in the Krishna Sandarbha goes detail in explaining and elucidating this fact that actually the whole purpose Vyasadeva wrote Bhagavatam was to elucidate about Krishna. Because if you see, Mahabharata was already written by then. Mahabharata is one of the biggest ever written scripture ever known to human existence. 100,000 verses. So if you split them, there are 2 lines in each verses, that is 200,000 verses. And most of the verses are written in Anushtum, means there are 8 syllables in each line. So, and in Mahabharata there is already Leela of Krishna coming up. Vrindavan Leela was discussed a little bit. But then Vyasadeva was still despondent, and Narada Muni says, you have to dedicate a book specifically for Krishna, specifically for the pastimes of Krishna, specifically for the pastimes that he did in Vrindavana. That is the whole purpose of writing Śrīmad Bhāgavatam. How do we know this? Who is the speaker of Śrīmad Bhāgavatam? Shukadeva Goswami. In the 2nd canto, 4th chapter, when Shukadeva Goswami is discussing the process of creation, Shukadeva prays like this. Shriya patir yagna patir prajapatir dhyam patir loka patir dhara patih patir gatis chandhaka vrishni satvatam Prasidatam me Bhagavan Satam Patihi. He's praying Shriyah Patihi, who is the Pati of Shri. Yagnapatihi, who is the Lord of the Yagnas. Prajapatihi, who is the Lord of all the Praja. Praja means citizens or Prakrishta Jayate. Dhyampatihi, Dhyampatihi means of intelligence, who is the Lord of intelligence. Lokapati, who is the Lord of all the whole worlds. Dhara, Dhara means the earth, Mother Earth, who is the husband of Mother Earth. Patir Gatis cha Andhaka Vrishni Satvatam. In the Yadu dynasty, there are 3 clans mentioned in the Bhagavatam. Satvata clan, Vrishni clan, and Andhaka. There are 3 clans. There are 3 clans means 3 branches in the Yadu dynasty. All of these, who is the Pati of all of these clans? Patir Gatis cha Andhaka Vrishni Satvatam. All these 3 clans, the Lord of all these 3 clans is actually Patir. Who is that Pati? Prasidatam me Bhagavan Satam Patihi. So he says, he's in this verse, there is only one verse which indicates he's praying to Krishna, which is that Prasidatam me Bhagavan Satam Patihi. He's not taken the name of Krishna directly here. He's calling Krishna by the name Bhagavan. So here he's praying. How do we know that Bhagavan is Krishna in this verse? Shriyah Pati, Yagnapati, Prajapatir, Dhiyam Patir, Lokapatir, Dharapatihi. Nowhere you will find the mention of Krishna here. Then third line, Patir Gatis cha Andhaka Vrishni Satvatam. He's taken specifically the Vrishni clan, the Yadu clan, not the Raghuvamshi. Because the Lord came as Raghuvamshi also, right? Suryavamshi also. Ikshvaku dynasty. He did not take the name of Ikshvaku. He did not take the name of... there is another name for Raghuvamshi also. I keep forgetting. So anyways, so he did not take the Raghuvamshi or the Surya dynasty clan or the Ikshvaku dynasty. He took the names of the Yadu clan. So how did he appear as, what incarnation did he appear in the Yadu dynasty? Obviously Krishna. So therefore here Bhagavan means Shri Krishna. Prabhupada translates Bhagavan as Lord Shri Krishna. So in this verse he prays. Now this is happening in the 2nd canto. How do we know Bhagavatam is only about Krishna? Because Bhagavatam spoke about Dhruva Maharaj, Prahlad Maharaj, Prithu Maharaj. Is it not? How do we know? Let's understand this. How many cantos does Bhagavatam have? 12 cantos. How many chapters does Bhagavatam have? Very good. Thank you. 335 chapters. Among 335 chapters, okay, 335 chapters, the biggest cantos are 10 and 11. You know how many chapters come in these 2 cantos? 10 and 11? 121 chapters. Okay? That means almost half of Bhagavatam is in 10th and 11th canto. 121 chapters. And in the 10th and the 11th canto is where Krishna's Leelas and Krishna's teachings come. 11th canto talks about Uddhava Gita and Krishna Leela. So that means, and apart from this, even in the 1st canto we saw a few chapters about Krishna Leela. And you will see many places, Narada Muni, Maitreya Rishi, Parikshit Maharaj, Shukadeva Goswami bringing in Krishna again and again many times in the Śrīmad Bhāgavatam. In the rest of the chapters, that is 335 minus 121. So that means more than 50% of Śrīmad Bhāgavatam is related to Krishna. Very interesting, is it not? Therefore, that is why it is called as Bhagavatam. Therefore, the central focus of Bhagavatam is Sri Krishna. It is Sri Krishna only. That is why in the 9th canto, the last chapter which we are dealing with is Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Before even we go into the 10th canto, Shukadeva Goswami is increasing the anxiety of Parikshit Maharaj, and he himself is getting very anxious to step into the 10th canto. And that is why it becomes very important. But then we may think, does Vyasadeva also think like this? Because he is the one who's composed Śrīmad Bhāgavatam. Even before Shukadeva Goswami prays in the 2nd canto, the 1st canto, Vyasadeva writes, anarthopashamam sakshat bhakti yogam adhokshaje lokasya janato vidvams chakre satvata samhitam. Satvata samhitam means a composition. This Bhagavatam is also called as Satvata Samhitam. Anartha Upashamam Sakshat. Sakshat Bhakti Yogam Adhokshaje. Lokasya Janato. Lokasya Ajanataha. Vyasadeva says, he writes this verse in the 7th chapter, to destroy and mitigate. What? To mitigate anarthas in this material world, and to invoke sakshat bhakti yogam, to invoke devotional service to whom? Adhokshaja, lokasya janato vidvam. So therefore, for people who are unaware of this particular knowledge, here is one chakre. I am composing this Satvata Samhitam, which is Śrīmad Bhāgavatam. In this verse, Vyasadeva says Bhakti Yogam Adhokshaje. He does not take the name of Krishna in this verse. But in the next verse, Yasyam vai shruyamanayam Krishne paramapurushe bhaktirutpadyate pumsaha shoka moha bhaya apaha. This is how he writes these two verses, 176 and 177. Vyasadeva writes these two verses. Here he says, the first verse is stating bhakti should be performed to adhokshaja, which removes all the ignorance from the heart. Now, Jiva Goswami goes a little deeper to say, Vyasadeva here always means about Krishna. Why? Well, he has already said, Yasyam vai shruyamanayam Krishne paramapurushe. This Satvata Samhita, if you listen, Yasyam vai shruyamanayam, by giving oral reception to this Satvata Samhita, and what does it contain? Krishne paramapurushe. Bhakti, what happens then? Bhaktir utpadyate. The development of devotional service will happen, and then as a result of this, shoka, lamentation, moha, illusion, and bhaya, fear, apaha, will all at once get destroyed by studying Śrīmad Bhāgavatam. And what is it about? It is about Krishna, who is the Paramapurusha. So Jiva Goswami says two things. Anyways, Vyasadeva has said in the second verse that it is about Krishna, but let us analyze the word adhokshaja. Jiva Goswami writes, adhokshaja means, it's very interesting, because aksha means what? Aksha means? Pratyaksha. You heard the word pratyaksha? What is the word? What do you mean by pratyaksha? Present. If you break the word prati aksha, prati means what? Every. Aksha means senses. Pratyaksha means that which is perceptible to all my senses. Therefore, it is pratyaksha. Is it not? When I saw pratyaksha means, it is direct perception. Direct perception means not only seeing, it means touching, smelling, everything. So you should be able to perceive it directly. That is what is called as pratyaksha. Aksha means here senses, okay? Ja means that which is born of the senses. So if I am smelling something, that smell is born of the sense. That is why it is called as akshaja. Adhokshaja means that which is not born of the senses. Therefore, Krishna is called adhokshaja because you cannot perceive Krishna merely by our material senses. Atah Shri Krishna Namadi Nabhaved Grahyam Indriyaihi. Rupa Goswami writes. So therefore, akshaja, adhokshaja means he who cannot be perceived by material senses is called adhokshaja. But how do you know it is Krishna, sir? Jiva Goswami states Harivamsha Purana. It's very interesting because in Harivamsha Purana there is a verse which is a beautiful verse again. Adhonena shayanena Shakatantaracharina Rakshasi Nihata Raudra Shakuni Veshadharini Putana Nama Ghorasa Mahakaya Mahabala. Putana, this is about Putana. Vishadigdhasthanam Kshudra Prayachanti Janardane Dadrushur Nihatam Tatra Rakshasim Vanagocharaha Punarjatoyam Mityahur Uktas Tasmad Adokshajaha. Harivamsha Purana states this verse to say who is Adhokshaja. Adhokshaja means, Adha means below. right? Adhakshaja, we said Adhokshaja means, Akshaja means that which is born of senses. Adha means below. Below who is born of senses means that who is so tiny who cannot be perceived with the senses. That's what it means. So Adha means below. Aksha also means axis. Interesting word, huh? Aksha in Sanskritam, we also said is senses. There is another meaning for Aksha called as axis. It's interesting because axis is a Greek word. It has Latin roots to it. You know, when you see etymology, it has Latin roots to it. Axis converts to axle. You know, Krishna, when he killed Putana and when he killed Shakatasura, he was found under the bullock cart, the wheels of the bullock cart. And the iron rod which joins the two wheels of a bullock cart is called the axle. In Sanskritam, it is called as Aksha. You see where the word axis comes from? Axis comes from Aksha, the reverse of Aksha. Aksha, axis. So, Akshaja means below the axle. So, one who was born, and all the Brajvasis, when they discovered Krishna below the axle of the bullock cart, they said, oh my God, this my little child of Vrindavana was reborn under the bullock cart's axle. Therefore, they called him Akshaja, Adhokshaja. Adha means born below the axle of the bullock cart. Therefore, he is Adhokshaja. Who was born below the axle of the bullock cart? Krishna. So, therefore, if he is Adhokshaja, Adhokshaja means Krishna. So, that's how Jiva Goswami equates Adhokshaja means Krishna. Therefore, Vyasadeva was meditating on Krishna. So this is how in Krishna Sandarbha, beautifully Jiva Goswami elucidates that even Vyasadeva, whenever he is paying obeisances and calling Krishna by various names, it is actually referring to Krishna alone. Although in the Bhagavatam, you will see every devotee sees Krishna according to his bhava. The gopis see Krishna as their lovers. The gopas see Krishna as their friend. Yashodamai and Nanda Maharaj see Krishna as their beloved child. Similarly, how did Vyasadeva see Krishna? Vyasadeva did not want to see Krishna with his personal relationship because he wanted to give us the complete perspective of Krishna. That he is Prithu Maharaj, he has his Etech Amsa Kalah Pumsaha. He is not only the Vrindavan Krishna, but he is expanded into Dwarka Krishna, Ayodhya Rama, and the Hastinapura Krishna, and Krishna in his various incarnations and expansions. So therefore, Vyasadeva's meditation was not to develop just personal relationship, but to compose the Satvata Samhitam. Therefore, he maintained his meditation as Krishna, but also Krishna as a complete whole, apart from his Vraja pastime or the manifested form of Vrindavan Krishna. That is how his meditation was. That is why in whatever bhava we approach Krishna, we see him like that. Someone is afraid of death, they see Krishna as death. So that is what Śrīmad Bhāgavatam elucidates. Now coming to this verse says, Jato gatah pritrigrihad vrajam edhitarto. Jataha means taking birth. Ja means to take birth. Gataha means to go. Where did he go? Pitrigrihad, he left the Pitrigriha. What was Pitrigriha for Krishna? Griha means house. Griham. What was his house? Where was he born? In a prison, is it not? In a prison in Mathura. That is his Pitrigriha. He was born in a prison. So from his prison house of his father, who was Vasudeva and Devaki, he went where? Vrajam. Vrajam edhita arthaha. Now, this word edhita also is very interesting. Prabhupada translates edhita arthaha to exalt the position of Vrindavana. The Lord's first duty, think about it. Krishna says, Paritranaya sadhunam vinashaya cha dushkritam. That is his duty, right? But he started his duty as soon as he went to Vrindavan, killing, the first demon he killed was Putana. But the first thing the Acharya say, but he went to Vrindavan. He did not stay in Mathura. So that was an indication to the Acharyas to say, the Lord first does what is most important. What is the most important? To develop loving relationship with Brajvasis. This was his first duty, to say, where are my beloved? It is said, When Mother Earth prayed to Kshirodakshai Vishnu along with Brahmaji, the Lord said, I'm going to appear as Krishna in Vrindavana, and he summoned all the devatas to appear. Till yesterday I was understanding that the devatas appeared as in Krishna's pastime. But actually it is said, how can devatas associate with Krishna so easily in such intimate pastimes? Our acharyas say, actually the eternal residents of Goloka appeared with Krishna. The devatas entered into them, that's all. The devatas got the sannidhana, the residence of the eternal associates of Krishna. So the gopis and the gopas are always eternal residents of Goloka Vrindavana. The devatas just entered them. For example, Pradyumna, who is born as the son of Krishna, is a reincarnation of Kamadeva. Is it not? Who is Ganapati? Lord Ganesh also was born as a son of Krishna, Charudeshna. He is born as Charudeshna. But Charudeshna is an eternal servitor of the Lord in Goloka. Ganapati enters the body of Charudeshna and resides there, so that he can also be engaged in the pastimes. Kartikeya also was born as what? As Samba. Is it not? But Samba again is an eternal associate of the Lord, and he enters Samba and resides there, so that the devatas had got the opportunity to be co-hosted with the eternal associates and then participate in the Lord's pastimes. Otherwise, how can the devatas, they are not so elevated to chastise Krishna, to ride on Krishna. So they had to be given residences in the eternal associates of the Lord. So that is how it is. Just like Bhishma Dev. Bhishma Dev, actually in his past life, who was he? He was a Vasu. But the person, when Bhishma Dev passes away, who goes back home back to Godhead? It is the eternal servitor of the Lord who goes back home back to Godhead. But the Vasu goes back to Vasuloka, who is the Gandharva. So there are two jivas inside Bhishma Dev also. Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakura writes this. So the whole point of this verse, this is the pivotal verse where Shukadeva Goswami is saying, just immediately as soon as Krishna was born, he went to Vrajam. Vrajam, edhita artha. Edhita artha. Artha means purpose. Edhita means a very high purpose. What is that very high purpose? Hatva ripun sutta shatani krutorudaraha. The first reason was Hatva Ripun. Ripu means enemies. Hatva, to kill the enemies. And Sutta Shatani, hundreds of sons. Krutoru Daraha. Daraha means Patni. Bharya, Patni, Bharya, Bharvi. All this is synonyms for wives. And each has a different meaning. Daraha means... in one sense, it is said to be bold wives. He had, because he is a Kshatriya, in Dwarka he is a Kshatriya, so he will have bold wives like Satyabhama and others. Krutorudaraha utpadya, sutashatani utpadya. So he had married thousands of wives and produced hundreds of sons. Teshu purushaha. And then what did he do with them? He did kratubihi samije. He did yagna. Now, we have to understand, when Krishna comes, he establishes so many things. We just now completed Kartik month. In the Kartik month, what do we sing every day? Damodara Ashtakam. And where is Damodara Ashtakam coming from? Who writes Damodara Ashtakam? Satyavrata Muni. And it is coming from which Purana? From the Padma Purana. And from the Padma Purana, our acharyas say, Namameshwaram Satchidananda Rupam Lasat Kundalam Kokule Brajamanam Yashodabhiyo Lokhaladhavamanam Paramrishtamathyanta Todhritya Gopya. Now here, Satyavrata Muni calls Yashodamai as what? Gopya. He doesn't call Yashodamai as the Matru or Mata. he calls Yashoda Maya as the Gopya. So, actually, if we study Damodara Ashtakam in detail, Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakura and the Acharya Sanatana Goswami says, Damodara Ashtakam itself will take you to the ultimate goal of our existence. What is our ultimate goal? According to our Sampradaya and Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's teachings, what is the ultimate purpose of our human existence? Yes, Prema Pumartho Mahan, to develop love of Godhead. And this love of Godhead exists in various forms. Even Dwarkavasis loved Krishna, Hastinapur Vasis loved Krishna. But the ultimate of all of this is the development of love for Vraja Krishna. And that is exactly what Damodara Ashtakam came to teach us, the Satyavrata Muni. Therefore, Yashoda Mai in the first verse itself, the hint is, he calls Yashoda Mai as the Gopi. Therefore, we have to develop. And why is it important to understand Yashoda Mai as the Gopi? Raganuga. That's why our purpose is just not Vaidhi Bhakti, because if you study Damodara Ashtakam, which is probably for some other day, you will see Satyavrata Muni even rejects the fruits of nine forms of Bhakti. He says, I don't want the results of 9 forms of Bhakti, I just want to Manasyavirashtam. I want to just meditate on your beautiful Balagopala form, on the beautiful lotus face. What is the 5th verse? Idam te mukham bhojam atyanta nilair ritam kuntalai snigdha raktasya gopya muhuschumbitam bimba raktadharam me manasya virashtham malam lakshalabhay. So he says, what is the use of lakhs and lakhs, thousands and millions of benedictions? I just want one benediction, that I want to just absorb your lotus beautiful muhuschumbitam bimbar, that lotus face which is kissed by Yashoda Mai repeatedly. I want to establish that in my heart. So even Damodara Ashtakam, you will see the whole point of our sampradaya is to increase our love to Krishna who is in Vrindavan. And not only to love Krishna, but to love those who love Krishna in Vrindavan, especially the Gopas and the Gopis. In the Gopis means it could be the Gopis who have Madhurya Rasa, or Gopis who are the parents. Mother Yashoda also is a Gopi. So one can develop love towards Krishna in the Vatsalya Bhava, in the maternal affection, if we follow in the footsteps of Yashoda. And that is what is trying to be presented here, that he went to Vraja for edhita arthaha, means for a very high purpose, to establish this loving relationship. Prabhupada, interestingly, in one of the lines in the purport, he tells this line. I want to read this line again. The real purpose of Krishna's appearance, however, was to manifest how one can take part in the loving affairs with the Supreme Personality of Godhead. How we can participate in the loving affairs? How can we participate in the loving affairs of Krishna in Vrindavana? Yes, but one level higher. Nectar of devotion. We just now discussed. How do we develop? To follow in the footsteps of Rajavasis. Raganuga. That is the whole purpose of our sampradaya. Yes, on one end is Vaidhi Bhakti, process, follow the process. But on the other end, we should start transcending and trying to follow in the footsteps of Vraja. And how do we follow that? By following, who is the Brajvasi for us? The devotees around us. The devotees, the senior devotees, Prabhupada's disciples, they're all actually Brajavasis. And when we follow in their footsteps and develop love towards them, and the way they develop attachment to Krishna, we gradually try to comprehend how Yashoda Mai's love was for Krishna, how Nanda Maharaj's love was towards Krishna. That's why Prabhupada writes, actually, Krishna came to kill Hatvaripun, then he came to establish, he married, and he established Dharma. Prabhupada writes, in this verse it is said, Kruto Udaraha Purusha Kratubhi Samije. Samije means he worshipped. It is said in the Vedas that a Grihastha has to do Yagna every day. It is called Agnishtoma Yagna. Every day, if you go to many traditional sampradayas, you will see a Grihastha cannot step out of the house without doing the Agnikarya. Nowadays, if you go in online, you will find a small Yagna Kunda, like this size. this size, and 3 sticks you get a pack, and you get a pack of 365 or something like that. So you can use that, open it, do yagna, and then throw the ash outside, which is for grihasthas. Ideally, according to scriptures, a grihastha should do yagna. Yagna means worshipping the Lord in the medium of fire. There are 3 ways the Lord is worshipped daily: through the medium of fire, through the medium of the deity, through the medium of the names and the sound. We do 2. We don't ideally do yagnas every day, fire sacrifice. But generally, if you go to very traditional sampradayas or Vaishnava sampradayas, they do this. They have this practice. And Krishna, when he came as his Dwarka Leela, when he married, when he entered Grihastha he was doing this yagnas every day. That is what it is said here. Purushaha kratubihi samije. He was doing yagna. But whom was he worshipping? Atmanam atmanigamam prathayanjaneshu. Why was he doing this? He was doing this to set an example that this is how grihasthas should live according to the dharmic principles. But while said and done, the real purpose of Krishna was to establish the beautiful pastimes of Vrindavana and to invoke and attract every jiva towards this particular form of Krishna. So, Prabhupada actually gives us many themes in this purport. One is, he says, to advance in human life, human society must follow the Vedic principles demonstrated by Lord Krishna in his householder life. That's one principle. Second principle is to get attracted to Vrindavan Krishna. Third principle is to understand that the Leelas of Krishna are transcendental. And the fourth principle is that Krishna is a person, and ultimately he is a person. Bhaktivedanta Thakur, in his bhajan, he writes, in the bhajan where he prays to Nityananda Prabhu. Nadiya godhrume nitya nanda mahajan patiya che naam hata jivera karan nadiya godhrume nityananda mahajan. In that bhajan, the last verse, Krishnera samsara koro chhadiya nachar jive doya Krishna naam sarvadharma sar nadiya godhrume nityananda mahajan. So he prays to Nityananda Prabhu, Nadiya godhrume nityananda mahajan, and he says Krishnera samsara koro. The whole point is, when we live in this samsara, we should live because Krishna's whole plan, what was Krishna's plan? Krishna did not sit there with Devaki and Vasudeva and was happy with his mother and father. No, he went to Vrindavana, he did his pastimes, he expanded his devotional circle, he had his gopas, gopis, killed the demons, and even the demons were liberated. From there he went to Hastinapur. He went to Mathura, from there Hastinapur, then Dwarka. So Krishna is in a constant mode of expanding his family because he wants to attract all of us. So Bhaktivedanta Thakur says, Krishnera samsara. Expand. We should also try to desire one thing, to become a family member of Krishna. Wherever you put yourself in, whether you want to put to yourself as a servants of gopis or servants of gopas, of course our target is to become servants of gopis, but try to yearn to become a family member of Krishna. Krishnera samsara koro chhadiya anachar. So get rid of anachar and develop the desire to become a family member of Krishna. That is the whole purpose of Krishna, and that is what Krishna also desires, because Krishna is come here to attract all of us. Janma karma cha me divyam evam yo vetti tattvataha tyaktva deham punarjanma naiti mameti. So Arjuna, Krishna says that you will not have birth anymore once you are attracted to my pastimes. The whole purpose of him to enact these pastimes is to attract us. Why would he do it? Of course, he wants to do it for his pleasure, but at the same time he wants to attract the jivas. Thereby, when we get attracted to Krishna, all the anarthas will naturally get away from us. The anartha means this material existence. So with this, I will stop here. Thank you so much for allowing me to meditate on this beautiful verse. If there are any questions or comments, we can discuss for a few seconds. Yes, Mataji.
the jivas, there are two jivas that might have with Bhishma Deva,
Yeah.
the personalities.
Yes.
So that happens with the demigods, or can
Yes.
it happen with the normal jivas?
It happens. Many times it happens. It happens. Because demigods are jivas.
Yes.
Yeah. Devatas are jivas. They are jivatmas. They are not Vishnu tattvas.
Yes.
But the eternal servitors of the Lord are all expansions of the Lord, of the internal energy of the Lord, in one sense. Because they are from the Alladini potency of the Lord, who are pleasure-giving potency of the Lord. So the eternal servitors of Krishna in Vrindavana are all from the internal potency of the Lord. The Devatas are not internal potency of the Lord. They are like us, they are jivas. How can they participate in Krishna Leela? They take shelter of the internal potency of the Lord. So if they want to serve Krishna as a gopi, they don't become a gopi. They become the servants of the gopis. Make sense? So in the same sense, we don't become gopis, we become servants of gopis. And the gopi could be in the Madhurya Rasa, or the gopi could be Yashodamai in the Matra Rasa. Does it make sense, Mataji? Yeah.
Thank you, Prabhu.
Thank you.
Hare Krishna Prabhu, thank you for the nice class.
Thank you, Maharaj.
Prabhu, you were talking about Śrīmad Bhāgavatam and how Vyasadeva compiled Śrīmad Bhāgavatam. So we met one person, lady on books, and she told us that, she has this Devi Bhāgavatam, which proposes that Devi is the topmost and the supreme. And I was unable to convince her that, Śrīmad Bhāgavatam is the topmost and it's the spotless Purana.
Yeah.
And she was like, just because you're following Vaishnavism, that's why the books that you have tell you that, Lord Vishnu or Lord Krishna is the supreme. So why does Vyasadeva compile these different Shastras and Puranas that project, that this Devata is the supreme or that Devata is the supreme?
Thank you for the very, very nice question. Actually, Vyasadeva doesn't compile it like that. It is the person who approaches the books. See, we only understand from a book what we want to understand, not what the book wants to tell us. So, Puranas, it is said, if somebody wants to go to hell very quickly, they say go and read Puranas. Because 99% of the people out there do not know Sanskrit. Or 100% of the people do not know. Ask the same person, does she know Sanskrit? She probably does not. She would have read some Google version of Devi Bhagavatam. Nor there are authentic versions of translations of Devi Bhagavatam. Vyasadeva, as a scholar and as an incarnation of the Supreme Lord, who is actually the direct Supreme Lord, our Krishna Dvaipayana Vyasa is the Supreme Lord himself. He cannot compile such inconsistent literature where in Bhagavatam he will say Krishna is the Supreme, in Shiva Purana he will say Shiva is the Supreme, in Devi Bhagavatam he will say Devi is the Supreme. It's not like that. That is a direct insult on the author itself. So she has to understand that the author is Vyasadeva, and many people think that, because I am a worshipper of Ma Durga, Vyasadeva has given me Devi Bhagavatam, so I can be happy with my Devi. It is true. What it means is, actually, there are 3 languages in which Puranas are written. One is Guhya Bhasha, Darshana Bhasha, and Samadhi Bhasha. Bhagavatam is written as Samadhi Bhasha. Samadhi Bhasha means very directly spoken. Darshana Bhasha means as if somebody has seen it, which may be true, may not be true. Guhya Bhasha means very secret, it's decoded language. Devi Bhagavatam, Linga Purana, Shiva Purana, they are all predominantly in Guhya Bhasha, means cryptic language. It's very cryptic. For example, if you read Bible, if you do not know how to understand the Kabbalistic, it's called Kabbalah. Have you heard the word Kabbalah? Kabbalah is a way how you interpret Bible. You cannot just read English language. English language is not enough to understand Bible. You need to know the Kabbalistic interpretation of the Bible. So in the same way, you need to understand Guhya Bhasha to understand Puranas. So Devi Bhagavatam, Vyasadeva called it Devi Bhagavatam because which Devi is elucidated here. In fact, we are also worshippers of Devi. We are pure Shaktas. We are all worshippers of Shakti only. You should tell her. We are also worshipping Shakti. Bhagavatam also worships Shakti only. But you have to understand who is Shakti. Because Shakti is she, Radharani. Devi Bhagavatam is talking of Radharani only. They don't know, but that they are only talking her about her reflection, who is Durga Devi. We are talking of her real existence, which is Yoga Maya, not Mahamaya. So you have to tell them that yes, Bhagavatam is important. It will make you a better devotee of Devi. Please take this and understand Devi Bhagavatam better. But it's very difficult for us to convince them so easily unless they come to the platform of mode of goodness. And always two things has to happen. One is their endeavor to know Krishna and Radharani, and second is the mercy of Krishna has to be there. If there is no mercy of Krishna, if she is not ready, it will not. But in fact, it is her fortune that she's met you already. So Krishna is already merciful to her. So what we can do is pray for her to say, leave a good, the parting word should be that I'm so happy that you're reading some Purana. That means you're very sattvic. So it is good that you read other Puranas also, so that you can get a complete picture. Real educated, knowledgeable person is one who has studied all the 18 Puranas, or the cream of all the 18 Puranas, which is Śrīmad Bhāgavatam. So you should say that yes, Devi Purana is good, but Bhagavatam will give you more. So continue to read Śrīmad Bhāgavatam. And eventually she might read Bhagavatam. It is nothing to do with Vaishnavism and Shaktism. This is all a materialistic conception. Because that Devi that she is worshipping, what is her name? You should tell her. In North India, you go to Jammu to see her. Where do you go? Well, where do all North Indians go? Vaishnav Devi. What is that place? Vaishnavi Devi. Who is she? Vaishnavi Devi. Vaishnavi. Your Devi is Vaishnavi Mata. So please read Bhagavatam. Because she herself is Vaishnavi. So it's not that I am Vaishnavism or Vishnu worshipper. No, your Devi also is Vaishnavi. You call her Vaishnav Devi only. So gradually you can tell them, but because she's come in touch with you, that her fortune has started. That's all I can say. It's very difficult to convince, especially people who are having half knowledge. It's dangerous. But what to do? This is the problem, especially with people who do not understand. Especially today, there is an age of internet, so they get anything and everything over the internet. And they only want to see what they want to see. That I want to worship Durga Devi. Yes, who said you should not worship Durga Devi? Please worship, but worship her in the right way. Avidhi purvakam. Don't do worship of Krishna. Devatas, avidhi. Avidhi means the wrong way. Krishna never says don't worship the demigod. He says you're all worshipping it in the wrong way. Durga is my expansion. And Durga Devi is the one who announces Krishna's appearance to Kamsa, to say your killer has already arrived. So it is like that. So it's difficult to convince, but we just have to pray for them that they eventually take Bhagavatam. Because most of the Hindus, we were all there at some point in time. And we don't reject any devatas. We worship them. We adore Lord Shiva. We adore Durga Devi. In fact, today is the day when Katyayani Vrata ends. It was a very auspicious day because Lord Krishna suggests to the gopis, today is when he returns back the clothes of gopis and he says, you should go and perform Katyayani Vrata. Who is Katyayani? So in the Bhagavata literature, in the Vaishnavism, we adore Katyayani and Lord Shiva. So it is, sometimes they are very ill-informed. So we just have to pray for them. Thank you. Thank you for a wonderful question. Any questions? Any more? Thank you. We'll stop here. Grantaraj Śrīmad Bhāgavatam ki jai. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Ananta Koti Vaishnava Vrind ki jai. Nitai Gaur.